Reconnect.
Hi!
Hello!
Surprise! I have a guest with me tonight.
Surprise guest, it's me.
So, we are at the best new Lexington coffee shop, Brevide. And we were hanging out, and then I was like, why don't you just teach the class with me? So, she is here for...
I'll teach.
I'm sharing tonight, and I'm really excited about it. She's going to help as well. We're talking about Einkorn, which if you don't know what it is, we're going to cover that in a second, and vitality oils. And do you have any with you? Well, mine are in the car.
Nope.
I meant to bring mine out of the car. Mine are all in the car, but it's okay.
We're fully prepared.
I can post pictures. I have tons of information, but it won't take an incredibly long amount of time. But first and foremost, with Young Living, what you should know before we talk about Einkorn, which is a type of wheat flour, and the vitality oils which you ingest, the first thing you should know is Young Living quality, and that needs to be discussed before we cover anything else, because if you are not using the quality product of Young Living, then I would never suggest ingesting anything, and I would never fully back even Einkorn the way that I am right now without knowing the policies of Young Living. So when you control the farms, you control the quality. And so Young Living controls all of their farms. They have them all over the world, all over the country.
They're the only company that owns their own farms.
Yes.
They contract other farms out, but they have to abide by their seed to seal.
Their stringent seed to seal process, which we'll talk about in just a second. But they have the purest, the most authentic oils, and for a reason, which we're going to talk about. But yeah, the other companies that they contract out to have to apply by the same stringent standards.
It's a lot of family farms, actually.
Mm-hmm. So the quality is huge with Young Living, and they've been doing it. They're the leader in all of essential oils. They've been doing it for 27 years at least now.
Yeah.
And their process for quality is called seed to seal. You hear people talk about it all the time. So what that means is from the point that the seed is put into the ground itself is even tested and run through thorough investigation, all the way to the seal on the bottle is checked and triple checked and double checked and all of the checks.
Quadruple. Quintuple.
You'll find out like 15 times even. So the seed to seal process is what makes it so amazing. So their quality is, every part's important, from the ground prep to how they distill it, harvest it, all of their products. They have they said they regularly sample and measure the Brix value. I have some notes on this, because I didn't realize.
Tell me about the Brix value.
I would love to tell you about the Brix value. So the Brix values of the plants, that measures the sugar level, which indicates the plant's metabolism. And so what they're looking for is they're taking tests all throughout the growing process of the plant to see when their metabolism is at its peak, because that's when it's most beneficial and it's purest. Sorry, some more people came out. And purest to you, the most beneficial. And so they are checking this on a regular basis, taking samples so that they know when to harvest it and when to distill it so that it is at its highest value and property.
That's a big thing. Like they do that with, like, I think it's jasmine, right? Where there's like, it's so
a certain narrow window.
There's a certain narrow window when you can harvest jasmine, and it has to be at this, like, I think the petals have to still be closed at this certain time in the process of its growth before it flowers. And I think it might even be at night.
I was gonna say it's at night. Yeah,
I can't even remember, but like, you can grow some person can grow some jasmine in their field and maybe have a makeshift distill or something like that and distill, but they're probably not going to know when the optimum time for all these chemical constituents that are within each flower or shrub or tree or whatever, when it produces the best of that to be most beneficial for our bodies.
And that's why when people say, I bought lavender at Target and didn't do jack squat for me, well, there's a reason, because you get what you pay for. Legitimately get what you pay for with this stuff. So it is picked for its maximum benefit for you. And if it's not good, if they run this test and it's not good, they check it. They do not send it to you. And that's why
there are 17 different tests. I think it's 17 different tests they run, and they
add 15 to 20. So
yeah, they do like 3 rounds of every single one of those 17 tests.
At the beginning, they triplicate it. So they do it 3 times at the beginning process, and then once it's finished, they triple those tests as well.
And third-party testing as well.
And they have someone else who's not part of Young Living come in and test the oils again. So this is like
legit
insane. Like, that's why when I say it's above organic, like, they go above and beyond to make sure this is the purest, best quality that you can get. And that's why I trust this company, not just in their oils, but in their shampoo and their lotion and their Einkorn, food products, things like that. So, and if it doesn't turn, they chuck it and they use it for either compost or some other organic material way.
Yeah, like peppermint, if it doesn't pass all the tests, they'll use the peppermint to actually, as a pesticide, instead of using pesticides, they'll use, sorry about the train. Oh, it's so slow. They'll use the peppermint. Oh, look, it's Laura. They'll use the peppermint to actually kind of weed eat the fields.
Yeah.
Which is pretty cool.
Yeah, and that was another thing I was going to say. So it costs $12,000 for them to weed a lavender field on the Mona, Utah farm by hand. But if they were to use an actual like pesticide, herbicide, all of that, it would cost, was it
$60?
$60 an acre. So $12,000 versus $60,000. Obviously, you see why a lot of commercial companies would not weed by hand, but it's so important to Young Living that that's what you're paying for.
We've seen them weeding by hand. We were in Utah. There's this little dude out in the field. We saw many of them, but I went and talked to this one guy. And he's out there. He's got like music on his hip, listen to Spanish music.
It was amazing.
And he's got a hoe in his hand, smiling. And he's just like, hoe in the field by hand.
That's the other thing that we learned when we went to the farms and convention last year. Even if you have a bad attitude, they say go home. Like,
they don't want negative energy over your
which is
crop.
Kind of crazy to think about, but you read those studies about like talking life to a plant and it grows better, and being mean to a plant and it dies and it wilts. Like there is some validity to things like that, and so
positive energy.
They at least talk about.
Why do you think we wither? If some of us who grow up and might have parents or relatives or friends who say all kinds of negative stuff, we wither, right? And then the people who speak life into us, we like grow.
Yeah.
It's the same for plants.
So I just wanted you to understand like the level of quality that they go to make sure that what they give you is good stuff. So, so the quality, it's insane. So now we're going to jump into Einkorn, okay? So Einkorn is actually German for staff of life. It is the original... Einkorn. It is the oldest variety of wheat. It's dated back to even the beginning of time. Excuse me, sorry. I had to burp this.
Drink your hot chocolate.
So Young Living brought it back to being prominent, and it comes through Young Living. You can get it as a pasta, flour, granola, cereal. I had them all to show you. It did not happen tonight, but I will post pictures and I'll talk to you about them again. But they are all delicious, and I'll talk about them more in a second. But why they're special? So the genetic code in Einkorn makes it different from any other kind of modern wheat. It has a low gluten level. And the theory is that our body can handle Einkorn when it can't actually handle other stuff. I have several friends that have a really high gluten intolerance that are able to handle gluten flour, which is crazy. But there's several reasons why they think the body might be able to do this. So Einkorn has 14 chromosomes. That's the original chromosome of wheat. And modern wheat has been crossbred and hybridized with other things so that it has 42 chromosomes. So original 14, the new has 42 chromosomes. And because of that, when you're introducing hybrid versions of wheat, you are what's happening is you're introducing new genomes. Okay, so I'm getting all scientific on you guys, but I want you to understand.
I like it.
I want you to understand where it's coming from here. So Einkorn has an A genome. Okay, but when you start hybridizing it and mixing it with other types of wheat, like our modern wheat, you add in genome B and genome D. And when you do that, it makes it stretchy and malleable, the stuff that, the flour. Like bakers love it because they can bake a cake and it stays high and it fluffs up and all these things. But when you do that, it makes it harder to digest, and it's a lot harder on your gut. And so farmers actually don't love to do Einkorn either because it has a low yield and it takes a lot of time for farmland to...
We're due to class.
No, you're bad. Hey.
It's our friend Steven.
You can hop on and watch. Okay.
See ya.
Bye. So modern wheat has a genome B and a genome D, which makes it malleable and stretchy, great to work with, but it also is going to be a lot rougher on your gut. Farmers don't love to grow it because it takes a low yield and it takes a lot of farmland to get the wheat. And you said you saw einkorn?
I've seen einkorn growing in the fields of France on the Young Living farm, so it's legit. It's real and it's beautiful.
I'm sure. I can't imagine just a wheat field of
flowy. It's like Jesus's wheat. It's literally probably the wheat that Jesus
really
ran
is.
his fingers through.
It probably is.
Talk about the wheat and the chaff and all that.
But also, when I was reading up about einkorn too, it says that when you're hybridizing it, it makes it a more disease resistant, which is why farmers prefer to do hybridized modern wheat, because it's more disease resistant, whereas einkorn is not. You have to be a lot more careful with it. But when you think about this too, the husk on einkorn flour is much thinner, which means it's a lot more susceptible to things like pesticides, herbicides that are sprayed on it, which is why Young Living doesn't use any of that. But it leads you to think about the fact that modern wheat is being sprayed, most likely, with herbicides, chemicals, things like that, and it's probably getting into, not probably, it's getting into the actual wheat. So that's also affecting people's guts and issues with gluten insensitivity, or sensitivities.
Gluten sensitivities.
So, some other things about how it's different. Obviously, I said einkorn is easier to digest and it's more easily absorbed into your body. Because there's not a G or not the D genome, it's just the A with einkorn. That means you have to work with einkorn flour a little bit differently. It's not going, there's the wheat.
This is the einkorn flowing in France.
That's awesome. That's so cool.
Anyway, sorry.
I love that.
Interruption. We interrupt this program.
So it's not, you have to work with einkorn a little bit differently. Young Living has its own like cookbook for using einkorn. I'm going to share 2 of my favorite recipes below that are not Young Living. I just have found worked really well with the flour. But you have to work differently with it, otherwise it's going to be really dense. But the protein is different in it. It's got 30% more protein than modern wheat, and it has there's something else that sounds super scientific-y and technical, but we're going to talk about it. It has glutenin and gliadin and other proteins, but the gluten and gliadin ratio is higher. And so that means that it doesn't cause an allergy and gut issues like your traditional gluten does. So
I'm learning.
I know. So there's also a strand of gamma-glutenins. I know, I'm getting real technical. Gamma-glutenins that are not in einkorn.
That's not a real word. Gamma-glutenins.
That are not in einkorn, but they are found in traditional wheats. And those traditional wheats that have the gamma-glutenins are what can cause gut issues as well. So when it comes to using it, you don't want to knead it very long. You don't want to overuse it. You just want to kind of mix it. And you can normally, for the most part, exchange it cup for cup for any other kind of wheat recipe or just normal all-purpose flour recipe.
I've been hearing it's more picky.
It is a little bit more finicky. Some of the articles I read said that you might want to reduce your liquid by like 15 to 20%. So, but the 2 recipes I have below, I just swapped it easily and it
Young
worked.
Living has an einkorn cookbook, which I haven't gotten, but it sounds like they worked really hard on a lot of recipes. Sure. So that might be a good one to look at too.
It has like it's a lot sweeter of a flour. I make my Christmas cinnamon rolls. I'll show you in a second. Ooh. Christmas cinnamon rolls with it, and it is delicious. But there's a sweetness to it.
I like sweet wheat. Who doesn't like sweet wheat?
So, but the different products that Young Living offers. You've had the pancake waffle mix, haven't you?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. That's good.
So you have had that. Mm-hmm. And then einkorn berries, which is kind of like a wheat berry. You can sprinkle it on top of. I
still have a bag of that and I haven't opened it. You can make flour out of it.
Yeah, you can
just have to grind
mill
it up.
yourself. Yeah. But my favorites are, they have flake cereal, like an einkorn flake cereal, which is like a cornflake kind of cereal.
It's good.
So good. I add my own raisins, and it's like a Raisin Bran cereal, or I'll add banana
raisins
to it.
for me.
Oh,
that's silly.
Lame.
Raisins are dumb.
But their flake cereal is so good, and the kids I have to hide it when I get it because it's like a special treat. And I do give some to my kids. But
if you don't have kids, you'll understand someday.
I don't want to share my snacks.
Don't tell them about the ice cream.
So the flake cereal is amazing. Their granola is the bomb. I love their granola. It is so tasty. Their pasta, I've had the rotini. I did not love the rotini, but I love their spaghetti. So I make baked spaghetti with the einkorn.
I haven't tried. I haven't tried either of those.
You totally should.
I will.
So I actually got
I'm gonna do it.
Laura, who just popped on a minute ago. Laura loves their spaghetti now too, and she has a really high gluten intolerance.
And she can eat it? Awesome.
She can eat it. So, and they had the flour was out of stock, and it came back in stock, and I got 2 pounds of it last week. We're not in prepper mode at all, but we got they're in 2-pound things, and I got 2 of them. So I have 4 pounds of einkorn flour now.
Yeah.
Because I really love having a good option of a grain, an ancient grain for my kids. I don't want to be completely gluten-free in our family if we can offer some things like quinoa and einkorn flour that can give them a good source of wheat like that. So these are some great options. They love them. I love them. Einkorn has great protein percentage, has great actually it has high antioxidants. It has there was something else I was reading about it that it has higher in, but it's a really good wheat alternative. It's a really good grain.
Einkorn for president.
Einkorn for president. So that's Einkorn. You should try it if you haven't done it on an ER before. I would highly recommend giving it a whirl. I would start with the spaghetti noodles. It's really simple. And then I would maybe branch out to the granola and the cereal, the flake cereal. So those are the jam. So now, vitality lines. Let's briefly discuss.
You do have vitality. Sorry.
I do have vitality.
It's attached. There's a vitality oil right here.
Here, we can take it out and show them. So everyone has seen in your starter kit.
You need to take a sip of your hot chocolate before it becomes cold chocolate.
I've taken a sip of it. The vitality lines have white labels, and I'm going to take a sip while you explain vitality oils. Can you tell me the difference between this white bottle thieves?
I don't know much about oils.
White bottle thieves and the normal bottle of thieves that you see with the red label.
So let's discuss so she can drink some of this hot chocolate that she just paid for. Vitality line. So if you ever, I am sure most of you have seen, there's a regular label of Thieves, for instance. This is Thieves Vitality because it's a white label. And then there's the regular Thieves, which is this color label. It's a full color label. They are the exact same oil, okay? Basically, imagine an assembly line, and all the oils are going down the assembly line, and the only thing that's happening is Thieves oil is going to different places to be labeled. So you're getting the regular color label and the vitality label.
And why do they do that, Nina?
Because the FDA gets all their pennies in a wad about ingesting oils. So these white labels are considered they're GRAS certified, which is generally recognized as safe. That's a label that the FDA, it's the FDA, right? Mm-hmm. FDA grants and says you can ingest these. So that's why you'll hear us say when we talk about ingesting an oil, we don't usually pull out a colored label because that one's not certified safe for ingestion. This one is, even though they are the exact same oil. So just so you always know, they're the same oil. If you hear me, same oil. But if you're ever talking about it, this one is the one for ingestion. And all of the white labels, and like I think I saw you had on there, it's like 47 different ones. Mm-hmm. You can find the same in the colored label, but they are safe for ingestion. Again, we would never say that about any other company. We can't speak to any other company. We trust this because
of all the reasons we just discussed at the beginning, because of the quality that they go through.
You'll hear people say, I read you should never ingest oils. That's generally true.
Because they're going to have fillers and other chemicals and junk that are in it. This is pure. These don't go bad. There's no shelf life on these oils because they're that pure. When you get something somewhere else, they're going to have shelf life that goes rancid. These don't go rancid.
The only things that are going to go rancid, and that's after a while, are usually things like resins or things like that don't, their shelf life just in general.
Because they're sticky and they're hard.
Has nothing to do with like the purity of the oil.
Yeah.
So don't leave your sandalwood in the car to get hot.
Right.
Because it's an expensive
So Young
oil.
Living has I counted on their site, 47 different vitality oils. And no fillers, no contaminants, 100% pure, which is amazing. If you find something that says it contains 100% pure essential oil, even at like the Target dollar bins, the FDA makes it so that you can have, is it 10%?
No, you don't have to have any, newsflash, you can have 0% oil and it can say 100% therapeutic grade essential oil. FYI, Jen O'Sullivan, I learned that in her podcast. Yeah.
So go with a company that you trust. Is the
if
thing
you're
there.
ever wondering why things are more expensive,
this is why.
$12,000 to weed a freaking acre.
And if it goes bad and they toss it, then it's out of stock. And I know people get frustrated about things being out of stock sometimes, but really,
it's good news.
It's because they're making sure you have the highest quality. And I would rather have a highest quality something than something that was partially junk and they gave it to me anyways.
Yeah.
So we should really be rejoicing when they are out of stock
or
something. So why would we ingest oils? There's several reasons why we would want to ingest one of these, and I'm going to tell you why.
Can't wait.
So the quickest way for oils to get into your bloodstream is to put them under your tongue. What's that called? There's a sublingual is to drop a drop under your tongue. And then I read that you should leave it for 30 seconds without drinking anything or doing anything. It will immediately go into your bloodstream. So if you're needing some fast action, some quick goodness, 1 drop under your tongue with an appropriate vitality oil.
Not that we are saying it will cure any disease.
Never. So, but it can offer immediate support to something. Would be fantastic. So that might be a reason why you would maybe drop it on the back of your tongue. If you are out in public and you want to have fresher breath, a drop of peppermint on the back of your tongue could support your bad breath, things like that. There's a reason like that you would maybe want to ingest it in that way.
Immune support, if you're looking for immune support, you're putting this in your tea or sublingually under your tongue, whatever, every couple of hours.
Because it takes about 2.5 to 3 hours for it to be completely go through your entire body system. So that's why you'd want to retake it.
That's the key to essential oils is consistency, not just like this isn't some kind of like miracle cure, like, oh, drop this on the back of my tongue and I've cured cancer.
And I'm done.
No,
it's not
consistency.
That. Yeah. So, but for your body to metabolize it, it takes about 2.5 to 3 hours. Another reason you might want to ingest it is if there's a reason, like, for teething support for my kids. I use Copaiba, so I would put it directly internally for that reason, but they, clove for a numbing agent, diluted for my kiddos for teething. There's reasons why you want to use something internally like that. Let's see. But something that you should also know when you're ingesting it, for a capsule. If you wanted to do a capsule, say you don't love the taste of digize or don't like the smell of digize, but you need support in the tummy area region or in digestive region support.
Digestive support.
So you need some digestive support, but you can't handle the smell. Put a couple drops of digize with equal or more so drops of olive oil into a veggie capsule. Pop it in. That would be another reason why you'd want to take something internally if you just can't handle the smell, but you need the support of it. I also like a good one I've used too is fennel vitality for breastfeeding support.
I love the taste of fennel.
Ugh, most people do not. Nina is weird.
I'm Norwegian. I like the licorice taste.
It's disgusting.
It's wonderful.
I actually took it with honey because I wanted it to get into my system quicker, sublingually. Sublingually. So I would take it a drop with honey and swallow it when I was having needing more breastfeeding support. So those are some reasons why you might want to take oils internally. So some of my favorites, pretty much every citrus oil are my favorites for water. So grapefruit hands down is my favorite, and lemon. And before I even forget, anytime you put vitality oils, especially all citrus oils, into a beverage, you need to make sure that it is either metal or glass.
Stainless steel or glass.
Because otherwise it's going to leach the plastics and the styrofoam chemicals into your drink, and you do not want that. So grapefruit, lemon, lime, orange, tangerine, citrus fresh, those are my jam.
Side note, Google orange and lemon.
D-limonene. Google D-limonene.
And just Google lime or lemon and orange. I'm sure the other citrus oils have similar properties, but Google the benefits of those just for fun.
We can't tell you why, but you should.
You should.
So I love to put grapefruit. It's a sugar suppressor. It's a great sugar suppressant. I love that one in my water.
Sugar craving suppressant, right?
Mm-hmm. Yeah, sugar craving suppressant.
It doesn't suppress your sugar.
That would be helpful.
That would be great. It takes away all the sugar.
Lemon, as you would know, like with just squeezing lemon in your water, it's a good flushing your system kind of oil. So those are my favorite jams for water when it comes to putting in water. A toothpick amount in water of peppermint is another great one too. When it comes to cooking, I've got a chart that I'm going to post on the page here in a minute of what the equivalency for, say you are out of cinnamon, but you're making cinnamon rolls. Oh my goodness, I have cinnamon oil though. How much do I need? And I'll post that because the potency, I think it's like 1 pound of peppermint gives you a size bottle. So like a pound of peppermint is in a bottle. So you can imagine 1 drop is going to be extremely potent. In fact, funny story, the first time I put peppermint in my hot chocolate, I was like, I mean, I love me some peppermint, so I'm going to put like 4 drops. I had to add like 5 packs of hot chocolate to compensate. Like I kept adding a pack, stirring it, and I'm like, I can't handle it. So I kept having to add more. So we ended up with like a gallon worth of hot chocolate just to like even out the peppermint. So,
but it's also great in brownies.
And brownies, yes.
Peppermint brownies.
So good. I made it in icing at Christmas time, peppermint cookies. So peppermint and all of those things. Cilantro, if I happen to be out of cilantro, their cilantro vitality oil is actually really good.
Oh yeah, you said that worked good. I haven't used it yet.
It smells so good. There's several that do not taste or do not smell like you would think they would. Basil does not smell like fresh basil. Ginger,
I love basil.
Their
Smells
ginger
like
oil
licorice.
does not smell like ginger oil.
Ginger is the worst.
Cilantro is legit.
Yeah,
I add it
like
to
cilantro.
guacamole. I add it to rice sometimes if I'm making like Mexican rice. Dill is another one that is excellent to use. I have that one on hand because I have a specific dill dressing that I love to make. And in the summer,
Good to know.
I don't like to buy, or in the winter, I don't have dill on hand. I don't want to buy it.
About that dill. No trouble.
Lemongrass, I make Thai dishes a lot, and I don't buy lemongrass because lemongrass is kind of expensive and tricky to find. And so I just
actual
use
lemongrass. And I was like,
a lemongrass oil is really great for adding to Thai dishes. And then thieves, obviously, I cook with that when it comes to like adding it to hot teas, things like that. So, excuse me.
Oh no, she's coughing. Here's some thieves.
So that is that's vitality oils. So there's nothing crazy about them. There's nothing like weird or hokey. It's just support for your body.
Do you eat plants? Do you eat salads? Then you'll
Spinach.
like vitality oils.
Yes. So that is what I'm going to talk about with these. If you haven't tried these, the first thing I ordered on my ER was I think like 5 or 6 vitality oils. All the vitality ones come in a 5 ml size, and you can get them in this vitality size, or like Nina said, the larger size that is a color label.
It's the same
And
oil.
it's going to be cheaper, cost-effective wise. So I got the small vitality ones because like I think it's, let's see, lime is like $5.25.
All the citrus oils are between like
5 and 10,
5
12.
and 7. Then you get to like lemongrass, and they're but
like
they're
12.
all under. Most of them are under like
20.
11 or 10. Yeah,
Yeah, under 20 for sure.
The vitality oils. There's a few vitality oils that are a little pricier, but most of them are.
So when I first got on ER, I was like, I'm going to try all the vitality oils because they're cheaper and I want to try the most for my money. So I got lemon, lime, grapefruit, citrus fresh, like anything I didn't get in the starter kit, bergamot, I got them all. And that was so fun for me to try them in waters and to try them cooking. And I love cooking in general. So that's why it was so helpful for me. But yeah, so I'm going to post the 2 recipes that I love to make einkorn with. I have an apple muffin that I think is delicious, and my kids do as well. And I feel like einkorn has a weightiness of kind of like a wheat flour sometimes. And so I feel like recipes that either have a lot of flavor to them or a lot of other things in them really help. So the apple muffins have applesauce and chopped apples and grated apples in it. So it's got a lot going on.
Oh, that sounds good.
And then the cinnamon rolls that I make, I've done the last 3 years. It makes a huge batch, huge batch. And so I make them, ice them, everything, and I freeze them normally the beginning of December. And I do 1 batch for Christmas morning and 1 batch for New Year's Eve morning. And I use the einkorn. And it's sweet. Like there's a sweetness to the wheat that I think is really cool. So yeah, so those are kind of 2 things that I don't feel like get talked about quite as much with Young Living. And that is, yeah, the einkorn, like their food products. They have some amazing food products that you should totally try. And then vitality
they
oils.
also have dried wolfberries, which are good to add to smoothies.
Which is what your ninja is made with.
Or you can add on top of salads.
Kind of like a raisin, or it's a goji berry is what wolfberries are.
What else do they have?
But
they have some syrups.
Yukon syrup and a wolfberry syrup.
Yep.
So something to check out, because Young Living only, I'm trying to think, I think only 20%, is it 20%? I think only 20% of their business is actually essential oils. They have a ton of oils, obviously, and that's what they're known for. But they also have supplements and beauty
Supplements
products,
are the
makeup,
bomb. We live on
body
supplements.
products. Yeah, all kinds of stuff like that. So
Our income is basically like supplements. We haven't been sick in 3 years, so we're like supplements for life.
Absolutely.
Doesn't mean you can't get sick. I'm
No.
just saying it's super helpful.
Yeah, like when you're supporting your body in the way that it needs to be supported, then you see a difference and you can tell a difference, and then you want to continue in that excellent lifestyle. So so that's what I'm excited to share with you guys tonight. I'm really glad that Nina could be a part of it. But if you have any questions about any of the vitality oils or Einkorn, drop them below, and drop a comment below, and I'll give something away. So a vitality oil or some Einkorn something. So
Drop a
comment below.
I'm gonna comment. I want to win something.
You better comment then to get her out of it. Bring your odds, her odds down. So thanks for joining.
Thanks.
And happy Tuesday night. Thanks
Happy
for
Taco Tuesday.
Tuesday.